also picked up my MBA at Lagos Business School. So that's a very, very summarized version
that's a powerful CV there.
Well, like I said, the story is still unfolding.
So, yeah. So I guess we're live now, so we can start your presentation, I think.
Yes. We can start. Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah, sure, we can.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Sorry, pardon me. I think my system is on now.
Okay.
So it'll be more comfortable for.
So while we're waiting for him to come on board, I just want to quickly remind us to register for AOT Lagos. If you go to aotlagos.com and register, it's an event that we are putting together in December 2nd and 3rd. And this is where we're going to bring together startups, investors, and policymakers. There's going to be a brief text posted in the chat box. So please go there, register for AOT. And also, if you have a startup that requires investment, please don't be scared to apply for Collaborate Lagos. Collaborate Lagos is going to be an event where, during the AOT program, where you're going to have the opportunity to, put your idea to investors, both local and international. So please, all the messages are in the box. Go there and apply and register. I will love to have you in a couple of weeks. Babatunde, sir, you're ready for you. If you can hear me, I think you should just go with the mobile phone and let's just use this particular method. So instead of...
Yeah, I think that's fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to use my phone. Whoever is directing the slides will just, listen to my prompts. Okay. So we're going to be talking about the eNaira opportunities and pitfalls, right? Interestingly, I wrote so much about this eNaira that people thought I was working for CBN at some point before it was actually launched, because I was really interested in it. I probably had 4 articles online. You can catch them. You can find them on the internet, and I had 2 videos about it. So I think the first thing I want to say is, before we even go into the presentation, is the fact that the eNaira globally, not the eNaira, digital currencies globally, right? Everybody's still sort of experimenting. There's nobody that has all the answers to eNaira, which is why you have a developed country like China actually still piloting the scheme. Fine, you have a few countries, like we'll see in the slide, that have rolled it out fully, but most of those countries are not, how do you say, they are not, the superpowers, the advanced nations. China is probably the biggest, country that has adopted it, but even they are piloting it. They have not rolled it out fully. So everybody's still, sort of throwing it out there to see how it goes. So, it will be helpful if we can also be a bit patient here to see how it plays out before it becomes a mainstream thing. So we'll go ahead. Please, next slide. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Perhaps just continue talking. Maybe, I don't know, probably having some difficulties on their end.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay. All right. So the outline of this presentation, we'll be looking at a number of things. I'm just going to put it up in front of me. Okay. So we'll look at what the eNaira is in the first place. We'll look at types of eNaira wallets. We'll look at eNaira versus cryptocurrency. We'll look at, we'll compare eNaira versus the current money we use at the moment. We'll look at some of the benefits of eNaira. We'll look at concerns about the eNaira. And then we'll look at some other countries that have adopted it. And then we'll talk about the opportunities and the pitfalls, right? Yes. I think, moderator, correct me if I'm wrong. We're going to run through the presentation and take questions at the end, right? Or are people allowed to ask questions in between?
Yes, we're going to run through and take questions at the end.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay. All right. Okay, I can see the slides are up now. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah. I've spoken about my profile already, so we can skip this as well. Okay. What is the eNaira? So I think there's a lot of misconception around what the eNaira is. Some people say it's a digital currency. Some people say it's a cryptocurrency. There's a lot of there seems to be a lot of uncertainty and different views as to what exactly the eNaira is. So please go to the next slide. So the question is it a cryptocurrency? If you click on next, you'll see the answer. Just for the so it's not a cryptocurrency. Is it the same as money in the bank? What's the answer? No, it's not the same as money in the bank. And is it a digital currency? The answer to that question is yes. So it is a digital currency. If you click one more time, you'll see the answer, the definition for the eNaira. So it's a digital currency developed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. It's meant to complement the Naira as a digital counterpart. So this is what, the eNaira is what you would typically call a CBDC. That's a central bank digital currency. So it's not cryptocurrency because it's for different reasons that we'll see later, right? It's not the same as the money in the bank. Very similar because the value is pegged to Naira, but it is not exactly the same thing as some people have dismissed Naira on the grounds that it is exactly the same thing. But it is a digital currency, but it doesn't mean that it's a cryptocurrency. It's a digital currency because it exists solely in a digital format. Next slide, please. Okay, so there are three different types of wallets. There's the wallet one, where you do not need a bank account. Your phone and your NIN is the only thing needed. And you have transactions of up to 50,000 Naira daily. You have a cumulative bank balance of up to 300,000 Naira daily. Please next, click on next to see the second type of wallet. We have wallet two, where you do need a bank account. Your phone and your BVN is needed, and the daily transactions are higher, and then you have a cumulative balance of up to 500,000 Naira a day. There's a third wallet, which will come up if it's clicked. This is the merchant wallet, and you can do up to 1 million Naira daily, and there's no limit on the daily cumulative balance. Now, if you want to think about these three wallet types in terms of who they are targeted at, you see that the first wallet is supposed to be for people without BVNs. If you look at the fact that BVN is not a requirement, individuals that probably staying in the rural areas or for whatever reason do not have a bank account, those are the guys that are targeted for the first wallet type. Second wallet are for most of us on this call, individuals. You just want to make payments. You want to go around your regular activities as an individual, and you need to do transactions, right? Then the third wallet is the merchant wallet. That is for businesses. So businesses that would accept and receive, accept and make payments. I expect that possibly that transaction value might be increased over time, but we have that amount daily. So please, next slide. So what are the differences between the eNaira and cryptocurrency? So please click for the first difference. The first difference you see is volatility, right? So because the eNaira is tied to the value of the Naira, it's not as volatile as a typical cryptocurrency. I know some people are probably making jokes about how even the Naira is the Naira that's stable, but it's still a lot more stable compared to a crypto. Even if the Naira can be quite, unstable, as we've seen this year, with every major CBN announcement, we've had ups and downs. When the BDCs were, when they stopped selling to BDCs and other activities, we've seen that really affected the value of the Naira. So that's the first thing. The second thing, if moderator clicks on it, you'll see that centralization. So now the eNaira is, managed and controlled by the CBN. So it has central control in that sense, as opposed to cryptocurrencies. Most cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and co, they are typically decentralized. Nobody controls them. But this one, as we've seen now, the CBN builds the infrastructure in conjunction with a technical partner, of course, and the CBN is the one that determines the timelines. They're in full control of this particular currency, right? And that is different from your typical cryptocurrency that is not controlled by any central authority. So those are two, very, very major differences. Interestingly, there's there are about two similarities. I didn't put that there, but I will just mention it. So one is they are both digital currencies, but they are not both cryptos, but they are both digital. They both exist, mainly in digital formats. And that is a major similarity between the two types of currency, the cryptocurrency and digital currency. So next slide, please. All right, first difference, if you click, it will come up, is the form of existence, right? So one of the major differences between the cryptocurrency and the eNaira, for example, the Naira in our bank account and the eNaira, is that the eNaira only exists in digital form, So if we were all, theoretically, if we're all using eNaira, nobody would need cash if everybody had phones or smartphones, as the case may be, right? For every eNaira the CBN issues, it doesn't need to issue, it doesn't need to print money to back it. Compare that to your typical Naira in our bank accounts. You want to go to ATM, you want to withdraw it. I don't know if any of us have tried to use our eNaira wallet, the speed wallet issued by the CBN. You'll notice that you can only make that payment into another wallet. You can use your bank account to fund the e-wallet, but if you're trying to make payment out, you only are able to transfer to another wallet. But it's very, very fast. It's much faster than transferring money from the bank. I know people are like, but banking is instant. If you think banking is instant, you should actually try sending money from one wallet to another. Before you can message the person that the money, you sent money, the money has gone through already. So it's really, really fast. Next difference. The way it's transferred, again, there are different ways to move money around, right? To move money around, normal Naira, move it around in cash, you have to get into a bank account and all of that. But the major way to manage your eNaira is through the wallet, because everything is 100% digital. You can't give cash, you have to convert to cash first before you can move it around, which presents an opportunity like we'll see in the next few slides. So please, next slide, please. So what are the benefits of the eNaira? Please click, come up one by one. So cost of printing money by government will reduce. So yeah, this is a benefit for the government. The government saves money, it trickles down to us as well, because it means that money is freed up to be used for other things. Next point, please. You see people will start to spend less on transaction costs because wallet-to-wallet transfers are free. That's what we understood initially, but CBN came out with something to say it's only going to be for the first 90 days. So we are looking to see how that plays out, because right now we're just moving money around and it's totally free. So for now, we say transaction costs are less, but we don't expect it to be as expensive as normal bank transfers. Next point, please. It will be possible for the government to credit people directly. So this is a very important point, right? Because the government is the one controlling the infrastructure for the eNaira wallet. We emphasize that, if the government wanted to do something like trader money, like it did in the past, government should be able to send that money directly to people. Or if the government wanted to give cash palliatives or something. Right now we have events where there are cases and allegations of corruption. The middleman that was supposed to take it to the village didn't take it there. We should see that reduced now, because the government should be able to, just send money directly to people. So that's a very interesting benefit. Next benefit, please. Government will have more oversight to monitor transactions. So yes, things like money laundering and whatnot, and illicit transactions. The government will have a better overview as to those activities. So yes, please, next slide. Okay, so this is just a nice breaker, just to buttress the points, one of the points that we spoke about. I don't know if anybody can take a very, very rough guess for how much the CBN spent to print money last year, 2020. Very, very rough estimation. Maybe moderator will give another 1,000 naira recharge card for the person that gets the answer. Just roughly.
1,000 is a tradition, for sure. But I think I saw about something around hundreds of millions of dollars. I think.
How much?
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. Let me walk backwards. Well, let's see. Let me not dash you. Let's see if somebody else can win it. Is anybody else guessing?
700 billion naira.
Mukhtar, Haba. One is not a whole state. I'm almost giving that away. That's much. That estimate is much higher than the actual amount. Any guesses? Any other guesses? 20 billion. Jay, you're almost there, but somebody else. I've gone to Google. No. I don't. Some people might have gone to Google. Okay, let's put the answer out, please. Please click. So 58.6 billion naira. So the last person, I can't see his name again. It was very close. He missed it by about 4 or 5 billion. So I mean, I'm sorry, yeah, wrong by just a few billions. But yeah, this is
how much money do they use to print? Does this money? How much notes?
He did print,
what's
right?
The value of money used to print?
No, he printed over 1 trillion naira worth of notes. Over 1 trillion naira worth of notes.
Yes, that much, though.
What is it?
I'm supposed to be printing that much naira.
Well, yes and no, right? Obviously, if we print too much, we have inflation challenges, right? But at the same time, every year, and it was in the news recently, the government actually, burns old currencies, very, very old currencies. And I think that's even more important now, given I mean, coming out of COVID last year, right? Money also became a transmission mechanism. So I think this year and this period, there's actually even need to, get rid of a lot of old notes. So it's also adding to the new money in circulation and, getting rid of old notes as well. I mean, this is just to give us an idea of, how much the government spends. This was even less. I think the year before it was up to 70 billion naira that is spent in printing money. So you can see that the money being saved is actually quite significant, right? So let's go ahead. Okay, the concerns about the eNaira. Yeah, please put up the first point. Is privacy, right? Which has always been one of the selling points around crypto. So this one is now the opposite. Like, if the government can send me money, does that mean that the government will always know how much I have? Does that mean that the government can put their hands in my e-wallet and just take it out? Theoretically, I want to believe that it's possible. I'm not certain yet. Like I said, I don't have all the answers, but theoretically, what some people have sort of posited is that it might be possible. And so there are concerns around privacy, even if the benefit of that is that, people like fraudsters and whatnot that are proven to be, guilty of the allegations, government has a way of clawing back that money, right? But at the same time, on the flip side, things like taxes and whatnot, maybe you won't be able to avoid them again if you have money in your e-wallet, because there's a possibility that the government might just charge that out. Next point is around financial inclusion, right? So right now, interestingly, when the first day the eNaira launched, I downloaded the wallet and I was looking for an avenue to see if that tier 1 wallet type was available. I don't know if the CBN plans to release it or not, but I couldn't register without my BVN. Before I started using it, I needed my BVN. And so the question is, if for now, which is different from what was in the paper that CBN released before the launch of the eNaira, if only people with BVN are the ones that can use this thing, then are you really including anybody? Because everybody with a BVN already has a bank account. If NIN was the minimum entry point, then we can say, okay, perhaps according to data, actually, there are actually more people with NINs than BVNs. So the question is, now that we don't have the NIN, how many people will actually be included if you need a BVN right now, right? So that question is up in the air. And of course, even if you don't need a BVN or you don't need NIN, there's still that barrier of having a phone, no matter how small. Except, we are making the case that, well, everybody has a phone. I don't have that statistic here to make that determination, but it's still a barrier, whether or not, we consider it. So let's move on. These are some of the countries that have implemented the digital currencies fully. This is not a pilot, and you can see that these are mostly islands, and they're not too big. They're not major countries as such. I'm sure some of us have not even heard of them. So these are like islands, but there are countries like China, Sweden, South Korea, major countries that have, they've done a pilot. Up till today, China is adding new companies, new countries, new territories every day of people that can actually use the eNaira, which is why I was a bit surprised about the approach that CBN took, because my understanding was that CBN was going to have a pilot. And what I thought that meant was maybe only people in select states. I think that's what they said at one of their seminars, right? Where people in selected, but to my understanding, I think everybody has access to it. So I don't know how that constitutes a pilot. We can always discuss it after the session. So please, next slide, please. So what are some of the opportunities for eNaira? We have alternative payment channels, right? Which, I mean, it seems small, But I want you to think of every time a POS device, your card didn't work, or when you didn't just have cash on you, right? This is an extra payment channel, and it means there's an extra chance that you'd gain that sale that you might have lost, right? Because it's not everywhere that takes transfers. So with the eNaira, the idea is that everybody should be able to adopt. So you have POS, you have cards, you have cash, and you also have, the option of paying with eNaira. Next point, please. Next point is around the possibility of reduced price from cost savings. Yes. So I mean, there are some businesses that have very low margins, right? And if you go to some places, interestingly, if you go to like a Dubai, for example, you see that some people don't like to collect POS payments because of the charges from the payments, the bank, or whoever is providing that service, right? So if we have reduced charges on transactions, then you could pass that cost savings to your customer and potentially reduce your prices. I know this doesn't affect everybody, but it's definitely affects some businesses who have very low margins, right? The next point is the business opportunity as a merchant. So as a merchant now, you can actually sign up to be an eNaira merchant. And one of the use cases is that you'll be helping people get cash. So just picture this scenario. Somebody, 3 people, we have A, B, C, right? And let's assume that B is a merchant, which is you. Mr. A from the city transfers money to Mr. C in the village, right? And Mr. B is a merchant. The only way to move money out of your wallet is to transfer it to another wallet. So what we have envisaged is that Mr. C will transfer the money to the wallet of the agent, Mr. B, and then Mr. B will charge that guy if he needs cash, for example. If for any reason he actually needs cash, you transfer the eNaira to that merchant, and that merchant will give the guy cash, right? And then he can also charge something small. Because it's free, it will be less than what your agents do today. Agents charge, some agents in very rural areas charge ridiculously because they know that you don't have an option. So if you go to like Paga, First Money agents, they're still relatively high compared to, you have the service free and you can basically charge the person to give him cash. And I mean, cash is just one use case, right? It could be anything. It could be a bill payment, it could be a loan repayment. The merchants could basically provide any service using the eNaira. So this is a whole new business segment that is about to, explode if people take advantage of it. The next point is, thought leadership and provision of educational materials. So this is not something people see obviously, but a lot of people are trying to learn about the eNaira. People that write, people that provide, seminars. People are already paying for seminars. People are already writing books. People are writing manuals and all of that, right? For example, now after this, now the moderator is going to transfer like 1 or 2 million for me coming to speak at this session. So I would have made money from talking about eNaira. He's laughing because he wants to increase the eNaira test. So, I mean, that's just a joke, but I mean, there is actually the opportunity for thought leadership. So people writing and, just the education market that, needs to be fed. Yeah. For anything new, you always need that education market. And yeah, you also have, the next point is that it is a competitive edge for fintechs who adopt faster, right? So I'd expect that anybody that has like a mobile app, as soon as the government makes it possible, people will start to have eNaira wallets too. So that people can do business easier. But if they don't, any financial service provider or fintech or anybody whose business deals with wallets, if it doesn't adopt this, it might be a problem because somebody would then be looking for, if I have eNaira and you don't accept eNaira, I might not patronize you because it will cost me to go and change it to cash and bring it back to you. So the people that embrace this, fintechs or any technology company, would surely definitely see a higher, customer retention as it goes forward. Next slide, please. What are some of the pitfalls? The first one is that you still need a phone. Whether it's a smartphone or it's a feature phone, you still need a phone, right? Which is, for me, even a bigger hurdle to financial inclusion than BVN. Because we talk about BVN, but you still, even before the BVN, you still need a phone. CBN says to roll out USSD soon, maybe to even do text, but all those things, you need a phone. After all, it's electronic, right? Electronic needs an electronic device to work. The second point is, is less of an issue. The BVN or NIN for onboarding, so that sort of already limits the number of people that can have access to it. The next point is that it's possible that it will compete with some fintechs and some banks, right, who do not embrace it, which is the point I was trying to make earlier, that, look, if you build your whole business model around making or receiving payments, and now there's e-wallet that is free for everybody. If I have all my money in eNaira, for example, and my employer chooses to pay me in eNaira, what's the benefit, right? And yeah, the next point, last but not least, is you might need an agent network, right? Like the example I gave earlier, if you need an agent network, then that still requires some level of investment, because agent networks are expensive. So if I send money to my grandma in the village, but before she spends it, she has to go and convert to cash again. That means she needs an agent. Now that agent it's probably going to be an eNaira merchant. While that is an advantage for you that is the merchant, it's also a disadvantage for my grandma, right? And that brings us to the end of the presentation. I will now take questions, comments.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much. This is very, very interesting. I think I now understand it better. Thank you so much for your time. Does anybody have a question? You can just quickly signify by raising your hand on your icon. Let me see your icon. Does anybody want to ask a question? Yes, we have someone already. So Jamie, you can unmute and ask a question, please.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Jamie.
Thank you, organizer, for this opportunity, and thank you, the presenter. With all these talks this morning that you presented to us, for me, I haven't seen anything beneficial from this thing, because you said the merchant aspect, they could transfer like 1 million per day. But if it is someone that is dealing with something more than that, how would such a person be able to, to use eNaira? That is my question. Yes. How such a person do, like someone doing like 10 million per day, 2 million, 3, more than that, and he wants to concentrate on eNaira because of this going around with cash, to be cashless. Yeah, that's my point. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want me to take it now, or should I wait for more questions?
Yeah. Let's. Do you want to take it now, or do you want to wait for it?
Let them ask more questions. Maybe after 3 questions, I'll just answer them.
All right. Then. Okay, Kelvin, you can unmute your mic and ask a question.
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Also to the presenter, actually elaborated everything I wanted to ask. This particular question is one that I think you should also give us a hint if you have an idea. Now, the gap between the Nigerian system, between the government and the people. Government.
Sorry, Kelvin, I can't hear you very well.
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I said we all know about this trust issue between the government and the Nigerian people.
Yeah.
We've seen in recent times Nigerian government projects that they didn't quite take it up the way they presented it to the people. And most of the times when people have made investment into these projects.
Hi, Kelvin. Kelvin.
Hello?
Can you just type your question instead? Because we can barely hear you. There's a lot of interference in your side.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Just type question. I'm sure you will see it on your answer it. Does anybody else have a question?
I think Mukhtar has a question.
Mukhtar, you can ask a question.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
We are live.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon. My question here is, how can someone leverage the eNaira platform for him or her to monetize it for end users? Like you gave an example of how someone can be a merchant. Are there the rules or regulations or policies that CBN have laid out that one can follow, or is there opportunity for one to apply for it? This is what I want to know.
Okay.
That's all.
We have one more question.
One more question. Okay, Tai. Yeah, Tai, please go ahead.
Okay, so I actually couldn't unmute myself for a while. Thank you so much, Babatunde. To be honest, you've done so much research on this. Funny enough, I'm happy to be part of the session today because I was just having a conversation with my colleague in the office, and it was actually an argument. And what we were talking about was what was the difference between eNaira and your regular money in GTB Bank, in your bank account. But I think your explanation has given a lot of clarity. So my questions are, I actually have two questions. The wallet, is it hosted on blockchain? So does it use blockchain technology? Then the second question is there a plan for CBN to provide interest to people that save money or keep their money in eNaira? Or is it just a wallet that is used for transactions without your money going? So practically those two questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. We have Akin-Moses. Do we take this? I think let's take this last question.
Let's take this last one. Yeah. This last one. Akin-Moses, speak, please. Akin-Moses can speak.
Hello? Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Akin-Moses.
Oh, great. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. I would just like to say, okay, so mine isn't a question, actually. I think Sunday did great with his presentation, and thank you for being in depth with the explanation. But I just want to fall back on, I think, your last point and the second to the last point. So the one about your grandma receiving money in the village on the eNaira app. So I think the PSBs that are out now will be able to make that available for your mom, for your grandma. So if you send her money via the eNaira, the availability of PSBs and even the money agents in these rural areas that are trying to stimulate financial inclusion, I think it will be easy for her to actually convert that and get cash if she wants. And I think the other point on the fact that you need to have a phone. So it doesn't have to be a smartphone. You could use the typical Nokia 3310 and use the USSD to do these things, these transactions. So I just wanted to bring that to the fore, just for people to also understand. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So you can answer questions now today.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that, Akin. Thanks for that input. You guys may not know, but Akin is my chairman at the CBN, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be proud. CBN? He doesn't want to be proud.
Is it the CBN?
Yeah, he's the CBN guy.
We also have a CBN here. Oh, wonderful.
All right.
So I'm sorry if I said anything bad about CBN or whoever it is.
No. We are partners in progress. We are partners in progress.
What is
we are
missing?
Partners in progress. Yeah. Okay, so let me just start from the top. So the first is from Jamio. It's about the transaction limit. If you remember, I actually made reference to that, right? My business, it is a peer-to-peer lending. We do much more than that 1 million transaction in a day. So for now, it's not even it's not on the table for us to actually use it for everybody. But my intuition and my gut feel is that this is all part of the pilot process, right? Because if you remember, the first thing I said is everybody in the world, including the almighty China, is still piloting digital currencies because everybody wants to see how it go. So I believe that 1 million Naira is just to limit, is just for the pilots to see, let's even see how it goes, first few weeks or months, and then let's open it up so that we reduce people's risk for now if there will be any issues. That is what I think. And also, again, the target is for people at the lower part of the bottom of the pyramid for now. That is the target, even if we've said, smartphones or phones, as the case may be, is a limitation. But that's the way we're thinking about it. So that's for the first question. But you mentioned something about there being benefits. Please, I want you to, Mr. Jamio, I want you to try and transfer money to somebody's wallet. If you see how convenient and fast it is, I think you have a rethink, right? It is really, really convenient. Trust me. I've tried it. It's very simple. Just try it. No charges, nothing. Very, very convenient. It's an improvement of what is existing. Significant improvement. Second question. I know I couldn't hear him very well, but Kelvin was talking about trust issues between the people and the government. Just to speak to that, it's a very good question, right? And as somebody that practices tax, we always say that government always says that pay your tax and then we'll do road. People will say that no, do road first, then we'll pay tax. It's always like the chicken and egg situation, right? Where everybody wants one person to move first. Now, the government has provided this wallet, and I think given all the limits and restrictions, I think there's nothing wrong if we start to test it from a very, very using very small transactions, right? Just to see how it works. At least just to test it to see how it works, such that we can even validate whether or not it's a real thing. Okay, I've seen your question. Drive the interest, reassure stakeholders, including Nigerian people, that this is a project that has come to stay. Yeah. So Kelvin, it's just what I was saying, that it's a pilot and it's still experimental, right? So we can give government a chance. Government has done something, so let's meet them halfway and see and take it from there. We can do small transactions now so that nobody loses anything big for now. The third question is about Mukhtar. Mukhtar spoke about monetizing it. There are guidelines on how to be a merchant. I think what I would do is I will share a link. There is an article, there's a different write-ups around how you can be a merchant. But the first thing you can do is to go and search for the merchant's wallet. There's a different wallet for the merchant, but it's quite straightforward. But I will try and share the link with the organizers. There's a good write-up I saw online as detailing the merchant process and all the kind of businesses you can do as a merchant. So I'll share that. But you can
just to cut you short there. Sorry to cut you short there. So what's going to happen is that we're going to share the link to our Telegram group. Okay. And you can just join the group and share the link there. So everyone that's on this call, so please join our Telegram group so you can be able to see the link, and you can ask him more questions there, and he will share with everybody that's in the.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay, I've seen the link. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so that answers that. So that's a good question, Mukhtar. Please remember us in your kingdom as you are making the merchant money. So the first one is for Taye. Yes, Taye, you're right. I mean, thanks for the compliment. I remember you gave a compliment about addressing some of the issues. So your question around blockchain, I actually forgot to mention that, but I was going to mention it. Yes, the eNaira is actually built on blockchain, right? It's actually built on blockchain. It's just that government is the one controlling the infrastructure, as opposed to the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, for example, where it is centralized. This one is centralized, even if it's still on a blockchain. So yes, it's also blockchain technology, which makes it very secure, which is part of what's making it, very fast. Because the government is the one minting money. There's no mining, and we save energy costs, and it's just super fast. Yeah. So yeah, it's also blockchain. Yes. Last comment. Akin, thank you for those comments. Spot on. We discussed this a number of times. I think I'd mentioned that point about the phone thing. The phone, I agree, it's not only smartphones. It's so if you look at the first pitfall I mentioned phone generally, smart or feature phones are the Nokia 3310. But I still think that having a phone itself is a limitation, because, except I'm wrong, I mean, it's affordable, but it's still like a barrier to entry. So if you don't have a phone at all, even if it's USSD, it still sort of limits you, right? That was where I was coming from. Yeah, and that's it. 5 for 5.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, if you don't mind, I would like to ask the guy from CBN a very important question. If he's on the call, can he signify by saying hello?
That can still be. Sorry, I've given you away.
Here. Was he on the way? Hello, Mr. Akin, are you still here? Or is still here?
Okay. He has raised his hand. I think you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So, Mr. Akin, I'd like to ask you this. I mean, for every innovation, they always say that has to be a problem statement or a problem that was encountered before they had forced the design of a particular solution. But we look at the market now, and there's been a lot of progress made by fintechs when it comes to financial inclusion, transfers. I know we all know that it's not perfect yet. I mean, there are a lot of things that that could be done, but then there's still a long way to go, and there's been a lot of investments into fintechs. So, what exactly prompted the CBN to just wake up one morning and decided that we need to build eNaira? What was the problem they were trying to solve?
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Sorry, I'm on the road. I just left the office, so I may be breaking off a bit. Okay, first things first, yeah. Innovation is always ahead of regulation. So you have okay, so the world is changing as a result of globalization, and for Nigeria, it would entice you to know that CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, is the best central bank in Africa in terms of how we conduct monetary policy. So at the office, we see different central bankers from Mali, East Africa, and the likes coming to model how our monetary policy transmission mechanism works. Now, in terms of eNaira, of course, we could easily say cryptocurrency was a very important factor to why we had to bring eNaira alive. But then again, Tunde has been able to draw a contrast between what a cryptocurrency is and what the eNaira is. Now, for me, from my perspective, I think cross-border payments is one of the main issues. Now, there's what we call Project Dumba, and Project Dumba is done by 4 central banks of the world. So that is Central Bank of Australia, you have Malaysia, South Africa, and Singapore. So these four central banks, they're trying to integrate cross-border payments amongst these countries so that whenever they're about to transact, this cross-border payment is going to be easier for all four of them. Now, it is also a digital currency, which is going to look like what eNaira is about to do. So I think because the world is changing as a whole, that's part of the reason CBN thought it wise to actually go on with the eNaira. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Akin. If I might help, plenty people have asked me that question about what problem is the eNaira solving, and I think it's how we define the word problem, right? So there's something that one professor helped me distinguish one time. He said, problem can be an opportunity or a deficiency, right? What do we mean? When you set out to solve a problem, sometimes you want to improve on what is existing. It's not always something negative. So I'll give you a good example. There was Yahoo search, and there were some other search engines before Google came. Google was not coming to solve the problem of search because it was solved. They came to make it faster, and they did make it faster. And even if the difference was just 2 or 3 seconds, a lot of people still have moved to Google, right? So I want us to start thinking of this thing as an improvement of the existing system on ground, as opposed to, oh, we are dying, we can't move money, so we need eNaira. It's not like that. It's like, we are here today, what we have works, but we want to improve on it. And I mean, that's how society is developed, right? We keep making improvements gradually. It's not like horses couldn't move us around, but cars are more convenient, and we'll keep making incremental steps. Until we get to where we're going. So that's how, I would want to look at that. Sorry, Malga moderator, just two things. I didn't address the question that Taye said about interest bearing. On its own, the eNaira doesn't bear any interest, right? But it doesn't mean you can't loan it and charge somebody interest. So I can give you 1,000 eNaira and say, look, give me 1,100 eNaira at the end of the month. But that is you providing a business using the eNaira as your currency. But on its own, it doesn't bear interest that the central bank pays out like T-bills or anything. But you can use it for normal business, you can use it for loans, you can use it for anything. But on its own, it doesn't bear interest, and it just moves in tandem with the Naira. The last question from Facebook, comparing the O-Wealth wallet to this wallet. So the O-Wealth wallet is more or less like a bank account. OP has a banking license, they have a wallet system. That cash that cash that is in your wallet still has to be backed by physical currency, such that if you transfer it to a bank account, you want to withdraw it. Any money in the bank, any normal Naira in the banking system, the CBN must print the paper equivalent, because anybody can ask for paper money at any time. The eNaira is strictly in digital form. So these are wallets that are holding 2 different currencies. It doesn't hold, the OPay wallet is holding Naira. This one is holding eNaira, and this is faster, except you are transferring OPay to OPay wallet. Maybe it will be fast, I don't know. But if you are transferring from eNaira to eNaira, it's almost instant. As soon as you press send, you can ask the other person they've received it, and it's a different currency, and it's just seamless. And remember, that is tied to one particular institution. This is central. Speed wallet is central. Speed wallet eNaira is central.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. It's been a very wonderful ride with you, and I appreciate your time. I appreciate you giving us your expertise, and I really would love to. I wish we could have more time, but then this is all we have for today. Thank you again for your time. Thank you again for your efforts. I think we've gotten to that point. I think my final thoughts on this is that I think, like I said on LinkedIn when I was talking about this event, I think it's never wise to stand in front of a moving train, right? There's a train that is going somewhere, and the CBN is a very powerful entity, and it's the one driving this train. So it's all in our interest to understand it, to to know how to use it to our own benefit rather than trying to, break it down or, castigate it or something. And I think there's nothing really we can do about it. I mean, it's there. And I'm still sure that even when Naira evolves, there will also be more opportunities for people to even make money alone from just having that thing exist. So yeah, so I understand that this is the beginning. It's still a baby, and we're all looking forward to seeing where this is going to go. And I'm hopeful that, and I'm sure Mr. Akin is hearing me. I'm hopeful that the CBN will be willing to collaborate with startups, to not to kill them off, because really, government's job is to inspire innovation, right? And there are a lot of innovative guys, a lot of people that have come with their different innovations who have attracted investments into their startups on so many levels. So it will be a waste, even if somehow the eNaira becomes something that is successful, Nigeria adopts it and everybody gets to use it. But if it comes at the cost of stifling innovation and stifling the efforts of the young, enterprising Nigerians who are really dug down to build solutions around fintech, to get the Nigerian fintech system to the international recognition it has gotten to today, and in my own opinion, it's not worth it. So whatever whatever CBN trying to do, I do hope that it's also carrying at the back of their minds the fintechs, the entrepreneurs, startup ecosystem, and creating avenues for collaboration, and hopefully we would love to see what kind of products can come out of this government private sector interactions through the eNaira project. So I am really, really glad to have this conversation with you, Mr. Tunde. I thank you very much. So I'm going to create an audience one more time. I'm going to write a question in the chat box, and I'm going to let you pick the winner. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to do it right now. So I'm counting down to 60. The first person to give me the best answer, you get to pick. You know what you wrote in your presentation, so you get to pick the person who does it correctly. So the third person getting correctly gets 1,000 Naira credit. So let's go. Who is going to take my 1,000 Naira from me today? Not benefits, so opportunities. I'm waiting for the answers. Okay, I'm assuming that this answers came from Facebook or YouTube or something, not from here. So that's why the other partners are posting it there. Does anybody have an answer?
Okay. This person seems to be the only one interested in this money that you are sharing.
No, it's the host that's posting from other platforms.
Okay.
From other platforms. Have you seen an answer?
Yes, I've seen an answer.
Okay, who is the second one or the first one?
I think Mukhtar has it more. Mukhtar he gave 3, and 2 of them are, spot on from what I said.
Okay, so the first 2 are not as correct as Mukhtar's one, right?
Yeah, the answers are 1-1. The first one, financial inclusion, is it's an opportunity indirectly. Less spending on physical cash could go either ways, but Mukhtar gave 3 answers, and first 2 leadership and education, monetization for merchants. I think Mukhtar for the win.
All right then, Mukhtar, thank you very much. You're welcome. I said you're welcome. Sorry. Thank you very much. Congratulations. You are the winner for today's Techbiz trivia. I'm going to put my number on the chat box, and I need you to text me your phone number. Yeah, right there. So text me your phone number on WhatsApp or SMS, and I will send you your credits. And please make sure you include the line you're using, because people have potted and it's a mess right now. So thank you very much again, Mr. Atunde. It's very fun having you with you. I hope one day me and you can have a drink. We can really talk more about this in there, and I can really tell you my actual opinions. But
anytime.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you to CBN for joining us unofficially. Mr. Akin-Moses, thank you for your time. Thank you for all of you that left your jobs to pay attention to this event, and I really, really hope to see you again next week. Next week promises to be another powerful, packed event, and bringing another speaker, another topic, another venture, and I hope to see you guys again in a few 7 days' time. All right, so have a great day, have a great weekend, and please remain safe.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.